This is my 2013 Ford F-150 Super Crew. It's got a 5.0 Coyote motor in it. This is in the cab. At this point in time, the tires are actually louder than the motor at cruising speed. Okay, this is the Borla Pro XS muffler I decided to go with. Now I got Flowmaster Super 44s on my Capri over there. There's a little bit of a drone on that, and because this is my daily driver, I decided to go with the Borla instead. It has a nice sound to it. I've looked at a few videos on YouTube, and basically I found that the Borla was a little mellower sound than the Flowmaster. So I figured because this is my daily driver, the Borla Pro XS would be a better choice than going with the Flowmaster, which would be a little louder and have kind of a drone to it. The muffler I chose is a 3-inch inlet. It's basically a glass pack. If you look inside, you can see the that it splits a single 3-inch to two 2¼ outlets on the outside here. I also decided to go with dual outlet tips, 2¼ to dual outlet 3 inches. The tips are made by Silverline. I thought they were a nice looking tip. Originally I was going to do dual exits, one on the passenger side and one on the driver's side behind the running boards in front of the rear tires, but found unfortunately that because the F-150 has a 26-gallon fuel tank in it, the fuel tank actually runs back past the back of the, it almost runs to the rear end of the truck. Unfortunately, it makes it impossible to do an exit on the driver's side behind the running board there. So I decided now I'm going to move the tips to exit behind the rear tires instead. So I talked to a few of the exhaust shops, and a lot of them said that it would cost a lot of extra money to run this exhaust out the back here if I didn't remove the spare tire. It would also create some bends and stuff that wouldn't be favorable for the driver's side. You can look under here. I took out the spare tire and the heat shield, and it created a lot more space under here to work. So it'll make it cheaper to have the exhaust created for it. You can see right there the driver's side fuel tank problem where you can't get an exhaust to exit in front of the tire, and there's just no room with that tank right there. So I'm going to go ahead and have it put back here, exiting this side on the existing exhaust side, which isn't any issue, but coming over here you got all these brake lines and whatnot that are in the way. You don't want to run the exhaust too close to those, so it's just going to be a lot cheaper to have it done this way, and I'm just going to have it exit right there behind the tire. Okay, so I had the exhaust installed on the truck for about a week. Sounds killer. Real happy with the way it sounds. The total cost of the exhaust, including the price of the parts, was approximately $600. The installation was about $350. The muffler cost about $140, and the tips were about $60 a piece. I bought them from Summit. The installation went pretty easy. Due to the tire being removed, they were able to manipulate the tips into a better location. I moved them back farther away from the tire than the stock location. The stock location, I wasn't real happy with it, because whenever I'd go off-road with my truck, which I do a lot, the mud would get caked on the exhaust tip, and it didn't look very good, and it was a pain to clean as well. I got the location here, and in the exact location on this other side of the truck. The overall performance is pretty much the same as it was before. I maybe noticed a little bit of low-end performance increase, but at the top end it's pretty much the same as it was with the old exhaust in it, which is what I expected. A lot of people said the same thing, that they were hoping that they would get more, and unfortunately the truck, the way it's set up factory, performs really well. So if you're expecting a huge increase with an exhaust swap, you're probably going to be disappointed, because it's pretty much the same as it was, with a little bit of extra oomph in the bottom end. It's pretty much all about the sound if you're going to do the exhaust switch on this truck. Here we go. There's definitely a sound difference between the two. Once you get up to highway speed, about 65, 70 miles an hour, it's pretty much mellows out at cruising speed. And it evens out with the sound of the tires.